If there's one genre of video games that I feel like appeals to pretty much anybody, it's absolutely the puzzle genre. Puzzle games are just accessible for anyone, even grandmas and your sister or your mailman or whatever. And they're just fun to play, they're simple to pick up, and they can pass time pretty quickly because they can be addicting. The PlayStation 1 definitely had a lot of good puzzle games on the system. There were a lot that were exclusive to the system, and there were some that were also shared with other consoles like the N64 and the Sega Saturn at the time. I'm here today to talk about 9 different puzzle games that you should definitely check out if you're looking into the PlayStation 1 catalog and you're looking for some games that you've never heard of and just want to dive deeper into the library. We're not going to include any Tetris games on the PS1 because I feel like everybody has played Tetris or has heard about it or knows the concept. These games here are all kind of unique in their own way, and some are similar to Tetris but different enough to stand out. Sit back, relax, let's talk about these 9 puzzle games that you should definitely check out on the original PlayStation. Kicking off the list here, we have Mr. Driller, which is a game a lot of people definitely know about. This game was in arcades, but also got ported to the PlayStation 1, as well as the Sega Dreamcast and Game Boy Color. The concept of this game is very easy. You just dig down. You keep on digging, but you gotta watch out not to get crushed by stuff. And you do have an air meter as well, so the more you dig, the more you use your air. So you gotta pick up air along the way as you're playing. This game is technically a spiritual sequel to Dig Dug. It was going to be a Dig Dug 3, but it became its own thing with some similarities to Dig Dug. Mr. Driller is now on pretty much everything, so if you want to play this, you can play it on Switch, on all modern systems like PlayStation, Xbox, all that stuff, so it's very accessible to get a hold of this one. People are definitely fans of this game. It's very catchy, very fun to play, and a good time overall. Mr. Driller, this is definitely one you got to check out from this catalog. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo was a game made by Capcom in 1996, and it was on PS1 as well as the Sega Saturn. This game definitely looks like something like Tetris, but it borrows a lot of elements from games like Puyo Puyo. You have these double pieces that fall down all the time, and you gotta match them up with other colors, then eventually you'll find these orbs that come down as well. Once those come down, you'll match them, it'll clear your colors, and you'll do this cool attack to your enemy, and you'll make a lot of blocks fall down on them. It's a pretty fun game. The pixel art here is also very impressive. You can play as characters like Ryu, Chun-Li, or even the Darkstalkers characters like Morgan or Donovan. This game has very catchy music and the graphics are awesome, and thankfully you can play this on modern systems with the Capcom Fighting Collection. This is a really fun game to play with a friend because it can get kind of intense. So Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, definitely check this one out. It's a fun game.
Ready?
Intellgent Qube. You know, this game scared the shit out of me as a kid. I played this game on a demo disc, and I didn't really even get far. I didn't even understand the game, and I remember falling. It was just so creepy. I don't know. Intellgent Qube is a game where you're pushing blocks around and you gotta match them up, and you can actually hit the tiles underneath you, and once you do, you can make those blocks clear whenever they land on them. If you can clear the green blocks that you see, you can make multiple targets disappear at once. Every time you clear the blocks and they don't fall off or they crush you, you get another layer added behind you so you can go back further. But if it's the opposite way, you'll fall off the level and die. It's a very unique game, not really a puzzle game like this one. It's very cool, it's also very weird, but nonetheless, Intellgent Qube is definitely fun when you learn how to play it. It also got a sequel called Karushi Final, and matter of fact, you can actually play this on the PS5 store right now. Can't play Intellgent Qube for some dumb reason, but you can play the sequel that we didn't even get in North America. To play Intellgent Qube, I'd say probably go for the classic, because I believe it's kind of, not cheap on the PS1, so go that route if you need to, but it's definitely a unique puzzle game if you're into that stuff. Bust-A-Move 2, or Puzzle Bobble 2 as it's called in Japan, This game series is a spin-off of Bubble Bobble, as you can tell. Bust-A-Move was everywhere in the 90s, even into the 2000s, they were on every console. But Bust-A-Move 2 was a really fun game, and it's very straightforward, and you just gotta shoot these little orbs to connect with the other colored orbs that you see on the screen. Once you do, you'll bring a bunch of orbs, and they'll all clear, and if you shoot an orb of the same color, and there's other orbs attached that are not the same color, they'll also clear. It's a good way to clear multiple orbs all at once. I gotta say, I've always liked these kind of games. These games were always fun to me, especially growing up. I played Bust-A-Move 99 probably the most because I did own this game growing up, so I'd played that, and they all play pretty much identical. These games are also very inexpensive on this console, so if you want a good puzzle game that's on the freaking cheap, you can't go wrong with the Bust-A-Move games. Check out Bust-A-Move 2, it's a good one. Devil Dice was a game developed by Shift and published by THQ here in the States, released in 1998. This game focuses obviously on dice, as you can see from the gameplay, but there's a lot of little mini stages you go through, and you gotta make sure the dice match each other in terms of numbers. There's some general rules that happen when you can connect them, they can sync, and you can gather more dice of the same number and connect them. This game is very, very addicting and very interesting and unique. I played the sequel a long time ago, Bombastic, on the PS2, and it's kind of similar to this game, and I didn't even know that it was on the PS1 originally. Didn't even know that Bombastic was a sequel in the first place. This one is definitely one of the more unique games on this list because of the way it plays, and it's really good, so once you learn some time to play this game, figure out how it all works, Devil Dice is a lot of fun. I'd check this out for sure, especially if you're into dice and such. Star Sweep, or known as Puzzle Star Sweep on the PS1, this game was actually an arcade game back in the late 90s, but it eventually came across on the PlayStation in 2001, at least in the States. As you see from the gameplay footage, it'll remind you of games like Tetris or Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, and yeah, they play a little bit the same, but it's a little bit more fast-paced, and a lot of the connecting and such is pretty cool. The best thing about this game that makes it addicting is definitely getting the chains, because there's only red, yellow, and blue is the only colors, but the more that you chain together, the more you pop up, the more you'll crush your opponent. I don't know what it is. I know Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo is good and all, but I really, really like this game. This game is really fun, and I just love playing it, and you can definitely lose some time easily by playing this one. This is one of my personal favorites on the system, and definitely a game that's cheap. It's less than 10 bucks or so, so this is definitely a good one to check out, especially if you're a puzzle enthusiast.
Lady, go!
The Bombing Islands came out on the PS1 in the States in 2001, but the game I believe was made in the late 90s in Japan by Kemco. It is a part also of the Kid Clown series, so he's had some games ever since the NES. This game, you go around islands and you have these bombs you gotta push around, and each bomb has like a number on it, and you got this red bomb. You gotta ignite the red bomb and make sure all the other bombs are in reach, that way they can all blow up at once. If one is left out, then you have to start all over again. There's a lot of different obstacles you'll come across too in each level, and the gameplay gets very, very interesting and kind of fun. I bought this game for $5 back about 5-6 years ago, and I didn't really know what to think of this game, but as I sat down and played the game, this game's a lot of fun. The game does get harder as it goes on, but the game will actually tell you how to do the puzzles if you're stuck. So there's always that. This is a great cheap game to have on the system. Kind of like Puzzle Star Sweep, it's less than about 10 bucks or so. So if this game looks interesting and you like Kid Clown and you want to see more of Kid Clown, well, here you go. There's the Bombing Islands. Rollaway is a puzzle platformer that came out only for the PS1 back in 1998, and yeah, you play as a beach ball in this game, and it sounds kind of simple and boring at first, but this game is very addicting on how it plays. You've got these pillars, as you can see, and you can flop between them and change the angles, and you just gotta collect these keys and find the exit. It's very quick, short levels, and they progressively get harder, and the progression is very satisfying, and I like this game quite a bit. You could easily lose hours in this game too, just like some of the other ones. Who knew playing as an inanimate object could be a lot of fun in a game like this? It really does get creative too with how the levels go, so you'll definitely have fun with this one if you're into puzzle games. This game is surprisingly not a cheap game. It's like a $30 game or so complete, which is very shocking based on the content here, but the game itself is solid. This is definitely a good puzzle game that you gotta play on this console. No one can stop Mr. Domino. That's a freaking sentence for a title. But this game is freaking weird. It's made by the same guy as ArtDink, and they made games like Aquanaut's Holiday, as well as Tale of the Sun, some other kind of off-the-wall games. This game here, though, definitely has a cult following for it. This is a weird one. You're this like domino piece, and it feels like an endless runner in a circle for a sec, but technically at its core it's a puzzle game. You can have dominoes land behind you, and there's these little switches on the ground. And your goal is to have these dominoes, you can hit into them on your second lap, and you can knock them down to activate these switches. You'll need to activate these switches to progress to the next level, and it's some weird stuff here happening. Activating these switches causes random things to happen, like a pinball thing running down the slope, or just like popcorn shooting out or whatever. It's just so freaking random, and it's very funny. But believe it or not, this game is actually pretty good. It's got a good concept with the endless runner design, as well as all the switches you activate with domino pieces. And you can run fast or go slow, so this game definitely is a one-of-a-kind game here. Not a super cheap game, but definitely not expensive or anything. This is definitely one to check out, especially if you like weird stuff like this for the PS1. And there you have it. Those are 9 PS1 puzzle games that you must play on the PS1 at some point in time. I love how there's a lot of variety on this system when it comes to this genre. There's like a different flavor for each game, and I love that about this system. There's even more puzzle games that I could have made on this list that you may or may not even heard of, but maybe that'll be a video for some other day. With that being said, I'd love to see what you guys have to say about these puzzle games, or if you have puzzle games that you think should have made this list, or a list in general. I'd love to hear. Leave a comment down below. Now, after making this list, I'm going to go play some Mr. Domino for a little bit and see how much more freaking weird this game gets. This list was a lot of fun to make, so I do appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching this video. As always, thanks for tuning in. Y'all take it easy.